about what may be causing the increase in identification. The response tells you everything. Target immediately stopped selling the book after an anonymous Twitter user complained it was, quote, transphobic. Target itself tweeted this, quote, "We have removed this book from our assortment." Then a professor at UC Berkeley called Grace Lavery celebrated that decision. Lavery wrote, quote, "I encourage followers to steal Abigail Schreier's book and burn it on a pyre."
Oh my God.
Okay, well, that's lunacy. But here's how the ACLU responded. An attorney there wrote this, quote, "Stopping the circulation of this book and these ideas is 100% a hill I will die on." Now, after much public outcry, Target reversed its decision to ban the book. But this kind of censorship is happening everywhere now, particularly on this topic. And the question is, why is that? Abigail Schreier is the author of the book Irreversible Damage, the Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters, and we're happy to have her on tonight. Abigail, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me on.
So let me ask you the meta question first. Why do you think the censorship of your book has been so aggressive and so unapologetic, just out in the open? What is that?
You know, woke activists have taken the position that we are never allowed to question anyone's transition, no matter their age, the circumstance, or the incredible lack of adequate medical oversight. I fully support medical transition for mature adults. My book specifically looked at a sudden and alarming spike among teenage girls, and I took a hard look at why.
And I want to ask you why, but why this topic? I mean, my sense is maybe it's the least defensible positions that people feel they have to defend the most aggressively, but maybe there's another reason.
I think they get the sense that if anyone's transition is ever questioned, that they will not be able to, issue demands for whatever treatment they want. Right now, you have individuals who claim to be gender dysphoric, that is, have severe discomfort in their biological sex. They're self-diagnosing, and doctors are just told to rubber stamp this. And look, for these teenage girls, a lot of them really don't have gender dysphoria, so they're unlikely to be helped by medical transition.
Well, it sounds like they're likely to be hurt by it. Why this? Give us a sense of the scale of the change in identifications of gender dysphoria and the reason for it.
Sure. So it used to afflict roughly 0.01% of the total population, so that's 1 in 10,000 people, and it was always overwhelmingly male. I think roughly 0.003% of females, so 1 in 30,000 females were afflicted by it. And they always started in childhood. They always started with childhood gender dysphoria. Today, we're seeing a spike in teenage girls who claim to have this, and they have no childhood history at all. So we know that this is very strange. And we're now seeing 2% of high school students, most of whom are teenage girls, claiming to be transgender. So we know this is a very, very large spike that doesn't seem to make sense. And even stranger, it's clustered in friend groups. Teenage girls are coming out with their friends. So we know this is socially driven.
Are some of the medical responses to this, I mean, what do they include? So you go to the doctor, you say, my 14-year-old has gender dysphoria. What is the physician likely to do next?
Well, the age of medical consent varies by state. In Oregon, it is 15. So a 15-year-old without her parents' permission and without so much as a therapist note can walk into a gender clinic and walk out that day with a course of testosterone.
Seriously?
Seriously.
What are the long-term effects of that on teenagers?
Well, it puts fertility at risk, at very serious risk. After 5 years, doctors usually recommend a prophylactic hysterectomy. It of course permanently changes your voice, your facial features. You can end up with a permanent 5 o'clock shadow, and it alters private anatomy as well.
So many cowards have stood by and let this happen. So many. And you were brave. Abigail Schreier, I really appreciate your coming on tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Trump supporters